Monica, you remain available to the press, and it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stefan. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see you again. And as you know, the PJ is back in the office after concluding a very successful trip to Pakistan and Oman last week. She has begun her day today by attending a ceremony in the GA Hall to mark Holocaust Remembrance Day. President María Fernanda Espinosa has spoken at a meeting at the GA on the International Day of Commemoration in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. The date marks the liberation of the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp on 27th January 1945. In her speech, Ms. Espinosa recalled her visit to the camp in Poland in December last year when she placed a wreath before the wall of death to pay tribute to the victims. In her remarks, the PGA said, and I quote, that one cannot enter such a place and leave unchanged. And truly, I cannot think of that place and what it represents without worrying about what humanity is capable of inflicting. The president of the GA affirms that lessons must be learned from history, and that is why it is so vital that we remember the Holocaust and honor the victims of that atrocity, for it is only in remembering and through the education that we can ensure that the hatred of others, the demonization of groups, and the cynical manipulation of opinion that promotes such hatred and attacks on them can be countered and stopped. The PJ has been closely following the latest political developments in Venezuela with great concern. Her solidarity is with the people of Venezuela. Ms. María Fernanda Espinosa calls upon all relevant parties to find political solutions to the situation to avoid the escalation of tensions and violence and further deaths. The president also calls for urgent political dialogue focused on the need for peace and stability. Ms. Espinosa says that the international community must contribute to a peaceful atmosphere. She acknowledges the mediation offers by different countries to encourage meaningful national dialogue involving all relevant stakeholders in Venezuela as the most effective way to restore the calm, as well as the cooperation needed for the country to work for its people. A peaceful solution in a manner that is consistent with Venezuela's constitution and international law is the only way to ensure the well-being of all Venezuelans. And the PJ conveys her condolences to the city of Brumadinho in the southeast of Brazil, where a dam burst last week, causing the death of 58 people. Hundreds are still missing. Ms. Espinosa is deeply sad about the tragic loss of life. She expresses her solidarity with the families and loved ones of those who died, as well as with all people who lost their homes and livestock in this terrible event. The PJ wishes a speedy recovery to people injured and extends her condolences to the government of the state of Minas Gerais and the government of Brazil. And yesterday, Ms. Espinosa issued a tweet strongly condemning a terrorist attack against a Christian cathedral on Jolo Island in southern Philippines. At least 20 people have died during the attack, which happened when the Sunday Mass was being celebrated. Ms. María Fernanda Espinosa said that she stands in solidarity with the families of the victims and with all people in the Philippines. For the PGA, there is no justification for such acts of violence and terrorism. She wishes all people injured in the attack a speedy recovery. And more details you can find on our website or also on the PJ's Twitter, which is UN_PJ. And this is all from us. Do you have any questions for? Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. I think Steph was pretty exhaustive about making it clear the SG is not in the position to recognize nations or representatives of member states. I'm guessing that might be something the PGA would get a request from member states to hold some sort of vote. Walk me through the procedure. Is there a set number of countries that would need to request a GA meeting to possibly recognize a new delegation? Does just one country need to make that request? What might we be watching for in the next few days?
Yeah, you're right. So we are not, the PJ is not in a position of recognizing any head of state of government. I think we spoke about that here before. There is no such request of anything that you mention or refer to. And you will be probably familiar with the Credentials Committee, which is the committee which recognizes representatives of countries to the UN. And that committee met last year in September, and recognizing the delegations, the respective delegations of which are represented to the UN. So there is, I can't follow up on any of the other elements of your question.
We should bug the members of that committee and not your office until we hear something.
The Credentials Committee is the committee which is in charge of member states to the United Nations and respectively their representatives, yes. Okay, Stefano, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Monica. Again, for Venezuela, does the president of the General Assembly, Espinosa, does she think to have elections again is a good idea to defuse the crisis or not?
The PJ is right now following the developments. She's very concerned about the well-being of the Venezuelans, of the people in this country. She does not have an opinion about the internal matters. She calls on all sides to seek a constructive political dialogue that can produce a solution to this matter. But she does not have any opinion on hypotheticals, events that we are aware of, which are being discussed and we know through the media. But thanks. Errol, welcome back.
Oh, I'm here. I'm just changing a little bit. Monica, it's always the same question. Whoever is the president of the General Assembly for the period of 1 year, and we have so many examples here, it's always the same question: how much is the president influenced by her own government, and how much, as you said, doesn't have opinion, which obviously doesn't sounds that it's true. She does have some opinion, especially from the moral point of view. So how much her current opinion of the president of the General Assembly or actions are differ, because we heard representative of Ecuador at the Security Council on the meeting on Venezuela. So how you put it there? What do you say?
Well, we stand by what I said. It's not up to the PGA to have an opinion, and this is absolutely the situation here. When you say how much is a president influenced by his or her region, you are aware that when you start working for the United Nations, you having representative posts in the United Nations, you are representing 193 member states. So you are not in any way, shape, or form going to be influenced by any member state, individual member state, or your region, or any other part of the United Nations. So you have to be independent and neutral, because you are representing 193 member states. So you are absolutely right, and we are not denying this. The president comes from Ecuador. She was the foreign minister twice in her country, in 2 different governments. She knows this region absolutely very, very well. She knows, individuals. She knows the situation of refugees and migrants, because she had to interact with them herself. And she is absolutely knowledgeable and aware of the developments. But that does not and shall not influence in her capacity as the President of the General Assembly, as a convener, as a facilitator, and she is here for all member states and for all peoples. Thank you. Anything else? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Monica. It's not about Venezuela. So yesterday marked not only the remembrance of Holocaust Day, but also remembrance of Leningrad blockade day. And today some of these people gathered in the UN to open for an opening ceremony of an exhibition. I don't know if you heard about it. And they expressed their will to talk in General Assembly. This year it wasn't possible. I don't know why, but they expressed their will to talk about it maybe next year. So I wonder if PJ think it will be possible next year for them to remind the world about this Remembrance Day as well.
Well, first of all, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I was not aware of this. The program on this day is actually led by the division of now the Department of Global Communications, former DPI, called the Outreach Division. So these colleagues are the ones who organize this event every year. So I would actually recommend you to speak to them or this particular group interested in the organization of next year. Actually, we are talking now about 2020. Yeah, that's what you're referring to. Yeah, because they are the ones who organize it. Yes. Okay, my friends, thank you very much. Good to see you. Might see you tomorrow. Take care. Thanks.